Hi friends, it's Em. Long time no see. I am filming my February setup late. I had a conference. I read a million bajillion books in January, but I'm so ready for February. February for me is going to be all about the even split of reading advanced reader copies and backlist titles. We're hitting 24 and 24 this month, y'all. Like, I swear. I'm using these awesome Lovebirds stickers from Caitlin Plans because it's February. It's the month of love. And they're also delivering love letters, which is just so cute. I'm using the calligraphs here for all of my, handwriting stuff. I will say that, for whatever reason, they're a little bit dried out, but, I think they might just be old, and I used to store them completely upright, so that may or may not be why. Also, I'm not the best at closing them, so that's kind of where I'm at on that. I will say also, I recently joined the Quarto Ambassador program, and they have been sending me so many books. Like, my book mail page is almost entirely filled up by all sorts of just random artsy stuff, and I'm very excited about it. They just sent me, which is gonna end up going in my February book mail. It is the Cute Creature Art class. Enchanting Anime Beasties, which at first I was like, oh, I don't know, and now I flipped through it and I was like, this Cthulhu is so cute. Ugh. I also do have Stitch with me. He is right behind my butt in my chair, which I will take. I will absolutely coexist with him like this. As long as it means that, he's not up here pawing at stuff, we are all good. So, as always, my goal is to be going through my backlist. It's gonna be to be reading diversely. I did a horrible job of that in January, but I think part of that is just that I was doing my arcs, and again, I'm not the best at requesting diverse arcs. I need to be better about that. But I recently went through my TBR cart, which I just was so excited by, and I put all of my BIPOC authors on the top shelf. So what that means is that those are the titles that are easily accessible, where I can just reach over and grab them without having to do any canoodling or finagling. Canoodling with the books would be pleasant, I suppose. But I'm just trying to make it easier to read those titles, right? That's the whole point, is I'm reducing the number of obstacles. So, for example, also, I went in and I placed some Libby holds so that I know it, on my Kindle, that I have diverse titles. They're right there available, and actually, I need to read them within the next 10 to 21 days. So I think that's a big part of it, right? Because I'm always like, what book should I read next? And if they're due to the library, I always prioritize my library books. So, problem solved. I go, okay, cool, I'm going to get my diverse library books, which at the Knoxville Library never have any wait because no one there wants to read them, which is ridiculous. And we're in business. I got, one of my goals for February was to place 5 24 and 24 holds, and we're set. Boom, bing, bang, boom, we done. I will say also, we're gonna do, we're gonna do the January wrap up, but, oh god, Stitch, okay. But I did read 30 books in January, so I actually effectively, when you see how I usually do a 2-page reading log, I filled it up. I filled up my book mail and I filled up my my reading log. But also, here's the weirdest part. I also did a no spend in January, which was super hard. And so there's some constraints there, right? Okay, I didn't count Book of the Month and I didn't count Aardvark because those are subscription services that I just pay the same amount of money every month, which is It's a little bit questionable if whether or not those counted. Same thing with Libro. But I did it. I did it. And then at February, my goal is just at the beginning of the month to place all of my pre-orders for that month. And then bing, bang, boom, we're done. And generally speaking, when it comes to my pre-orders, as you guys know, I almost always only buy books that I've read or that I know I want to read and will love. So like, for example, if I almost always get rejected for Rachel Lynn Solomon's titles from Berkeley. I know that I have loved every single thing that she wrote, and every single thing that she's written has been a 5-star for me. So like, I'm going to buy that because I know I'm going to love it. But that's sort of where we're at. So I placed a ton of pre-orders, and I used my pre-order tracker. I was so excited. I used the pre-order tracker to help me figure out which ones I did pre-order and which ones I needed to pre-order. It was great. Okay, but now we're doing my TBR, and my TBR is arguably the most fun part of all of this. So we have a mix of arcs and backlist titles. So let's see, where did we start? We started with The Tainted Cup, which is the book I was actually listening to when I was making this. It's like a fantasy mystery. It's like Sherlock Holmes meets Pacific Rim, which I am loving. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm also currently reading Georgie All Along for book club, which I'm not really sure what it's about yet. I'm only like 20% in right now. It's just a romance, and that's okay. Then we go into like tons and tons and tons of mix of 24 and 24 and arcs that I have. So we have The Neighbor Favor, which I think is a BIPOC romance. Then we have The Fox Wife, which I was super excited that Book of the Month picked this one up. I have an audio copy of this that I'm going to listen to, and I think that's hopefully going to be my next audio. It also might not be, because I might buddy read The Neighbor Favor with my friend Ashley. Then we have Snow Globe, which is supposed to be the Squid Games meets Hunger Games, which like, whoa. Then we have What the River Knows, which by Isabel Ibanez, which is supposed to be like, it's for like all the little Egypt kids, which I was absolutely an Egypt kid. And what that means is that you were just like obsessed with Egyptian mythology. Then we have Listen for the Lie, which I think is going to be just like lethal in audiobook format, because it's supposed to be like about a podcast, and I think that that's just going to make it even better. I'm thinking like None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. That's what I'm thinking it's going to be like. Then there's The Poisons We Drink, which I think is that by Bethany Baptiste, maybe? I have no idea what this is about, but the cover is gorgeous. I know that it got negged in that like scandal where the lady was like, what's it called? Rating other people's BIPOC author books poorly. So I snatched that right up. Then we have Ander and Santi Were Here. I wrote this as Andre and Santi Were Here. I just messed it up. But that's from Wednesday Books, and I'm very excited to read that one. We also have Peril in Pink, which I think is supposed to be a cozy mystery. The author for this one reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to read this? And I was like, yeah, I do. So we'll see if it's good. I know nothing about it. We also have The Daughters of Izdahar, which is on my 24 and 24. I got this book in a like advent calendar, and I'm very excited. And then finally, there's The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa, which I've heard so many good things about. A bunch of my friends brought like wedding books to my wedding, and one of them left this one, and I don't know who, so I just kept it. And I think at this point it's mine. I'm not sure. I haven't like looked to see if it had anything special written on it or anything like that, but yeah. I'm also gonna hop into my Libby holds, because I think I placed some last night that weren't on here, but if I have them, then I'm gonna read them. That's sort of where we're at. So let's take a quick look at my holds. I also put a hold in for The Violin Conspiracy, so whenever that comes in, I'm gonna read it, by Brendan Slocum. Very excited for that. As well as, so a couple holds that I've had in for a long time, and it will probably be a long time before they get back to me, are The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guanzon, which I have a physical copy of, but it's big and thick, and I'm just not, I know I'm not going to pick it up unless I start working out my arms or something. Then I also have a hold in for House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. It's a quote unquote, I have a 12-week wait on that one. It's like 1,000 pages. I'm not holding that up. And then I also have a hold in for The Perfect Find by Tia Williams, which I am very excited for. The only downside is that only one of my libraries has it. And I'm like a Libby, I'm a little Libby slut. So like I have tons of library cards, but that's sort of where we're at on that. Also this month, which is super exciting, I might make a spread for it, I might not. I'm going to Love Y'all Fest in Atlanta. I think that's the February 17th-ish. And I'm going to get to meet some of these authors, which is just so exciting. Like, Tia Williams is going to be there. I just read A Love Song for Ricky Wilde, and it's amazing. All of her books that I've read, like, they're definitely different plot-wise, but she just has this amazing literary prose, and it hits so hard. And then for the February in review, I also wanted to track the buddy reads that I do. Like, if there's any books that I'm reading with other people, I thought that would be super fun to track. I do need to figure out what the Joyful Chaos books for March are, like if I need to read them or not, just because I need to catch up, but you know, whatevs. So we're going to be wrapping this up soon, so if you like this video and you want to see more bookish journaling content, go ahead and like and subscribe. Comment down below what your favorite book you read in January was, or what you're really excited to read in February. If you have any recommendations for me, I will always take them. And as always, happy planning.